Hi, this is Josh from Breezy Bellows. In this video, we are going to look at a technique that is going to make your left hand chord accompaniment more interesting. And this technique is very simple, and it's actually very easy to do this on the accordion. We are going to look at a chord substitution technique. So this chord substitution technique is something that can be used for almost all the songs that you play, no matter what level of difficulty it is. It can even be applied to the simplest songs, as we are going to see in this video. I'm going to use Twinkle Twinkle Little Star to demonstrate this technique. And I came across this technique in a piano YouTube educational channel called Piano with Johnny. This technique is called the dominant 7 chord substitution technique. I was familiar with this technique before I watched the video, but when I watched it, I just figured how relevant and how much more easier it is to actually do this on the accordion compared to piano or any other instrument. This technique, it looks like it's actually made for the accordion, and that is because how the chords are arranged on the left hand of the accordion. You should already be familiar that the chords on the left hand go up in fifths. So we have C, G, D, A, E, B, F sharp, C sharp, and it just keeps going, right? And that is done for a very specific reason, because a lot of the harmonization ideas are built on a concept called the circle of fifth. But we're not going to go deep into any of that. We are going to look at how we can apply this technique. So whenever you're going to go from one chord to another, we can call the first chord as a start and the second chord as the destination. So right before you play the destination chord, we are going to play another chord as a passing chord. So we call this as a passing chord because this is very temporary. It is introducing a dissonance or something that is not stable into the harmony, and moving on to the resulting destination chord resolves whatever dissonance that we have into something that sounds good. So that is the idea, and we are going to use one rule to find what this passing chord is going to be. And there are so many different ways to do this, right? So this is just one of which I thought is super easy to do on the accordion. So what is that passing chord? So let's say my destination chord is a C. So let's say I need to land there. So right before I play the C, I am going to play the G7. So not the G major, but the G7. So this is called the dominant 7th of the C major. G7, C. And this is super easy to do on the accordion because the dominant 7th is always right next to whatever chord that you're going to be playing. So for example, if my destination chord is a E major, I will be playing the one that is right next to the E major, which is a B. So we'll be playing the B7 and then the E major. It could be applied for any of the chords that you want to play, and this will make your left hand playing a little bit more interesting. And the reason that this works is because of a dissonance that gets resolved. So you'll be creating a feeling of uneasiness when you play this dominant 7th and resolving back to the root. Let's see how this works. The song that we are going to be looking at is Twinkle Twinkle Little Star, and then we're only going to be playing the first line. And I'm going to show you how I would apply this, and then you could try it out on any song that you like. And this is particularly useful when you're like staying on the same chord for a long time. If you want to like change it up and do something more interesting, this can come in handy. So if we look at the chords for Twinkle Twinkle Little Star, we see 4 measures for the first line. The first measure is all C major, the second measure is F major and C major, third measure is exactly the same as the second measure, F major and C major. And the fourth measure is a G major and a C major. So the chords basically go like this. I'm going to play this in 4/4. So it's with the right hand added, this is how it sounds like. And if you want to add a rhythm to it, you could just play the bass and chord together as 4 quarter notes. And that would sound like this. So let's look into the chord substitution technique and figure out what we're going to do with these chords. If you look at the first measure, we have 4 C majors. And in the second measure, we go to an F major. The last C major is what we are going to be substituting out. In place of the C major, we are going to play the dominant 7th of the F major, which is our destination chord. So our destination chord, F major, is right here. So the dominant 7th is just a 5th up, which is right next to it, C7. C7 to an F. So the chord transition would actually sound like this. Instead of the 4 C majors that would have sounded like this. And let's keep going. In the second measure, we have F major and C major. So we are basically playing 2 F majors and a C major. So the transition here is from a F to a C. So instead of going from an F to a C directly, we're going to be substituting that second F major with the dominant 7th of the C major, which is basically right next to the C major, which is a G7. So without the chord substitution, it sounds like this. And I'm going to add the G7 instead of the F major for the second time. And that's how it's going to sound like now. And let's keep going. So we are switching from C major to an F major again, which is something that we've already done at the end of the first measure. So we just know that we have to replace that C major with a C7 and then go to an F major. Okay, and in the third measure, we are going from an F major to a C major again, so we replace the F major with a G7. And now it gets interesting. So the second measure and the third measure are identical, but the fourth measure is different. We go to a G major. When we look at the transition from the C major to a G major, we go ahead and replace the C major with the dominant 7th of a G, which is right next to the G major, and it's a D7. So this is going to be a bit of a jump and a quick jump, but it's not too bad. It's just like how we were going from F major to G7, but right now we're going to be going from C major to D7. Instead of doing... So it gets pretty busy here. If you look at this entire measure, instead of playing F, F, C, C, G, G, we're going to be jumping around quite a bit, and this makes it very interesting, right? So we're going to be doing F, G7, C, D7, G. So that's how it's going to be. And in the last measure, we're playing G, G, C, C. So that second G major is going to be substituted out, and we're going to replace that with the dominant seventh of the destination chord, which is C. So we'll be playing a G7 instead. So instead of doing G, G, C, C, we'll be doing G, G7, C, C. So this is how the whole sequence sounds like. You could do this slower. And I'm going to put both hands together and let's see how this sounds like. And with the rhythm added, it's going to sound like this. And on top of that, I want to give you another bonus tip that you could add on to this. So let's say whenever you're moving from like the dominant seventh to the destination chord, instead of playing the bass note as the root note of the chord that you're playing, the seventh chord that you're playing, play the counterbass instead. So the counterbass will be a third higher than the root note, but when you play the counterbass instead, when you go down into the destination chord, you'll be stepping by a half step. So that creates a nice effect. Let me show you that. So instead of playing C, 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 C7, F, for that C7, if I play the E bass instead of the C bass, it actually creates a better effect. Let me show you that. So that's something that you could just add on to, like slightly tweak the bass lines. And that is it for today, and I'll see you in a different video. Make sure you join the Accordion Adventures Facebook group. That is a free group where I'll be posting tutorials that will help beginners with playing technique and also music theory. See you then.